I've been in so many work environments prior to starting an organization where I really felt that feedback was delivered to me for the wrong reason. It was someone else would give me undesirable feedback at times for multiple reasons. It was like somehow to benefit them but not the overall client, and sometimes to impulsively because it made the other person feel better. When you operate on negative reinforcement, as you know, Aubrey Daniels often calls it discretionary. You lose your discretionary effort. I still remember that. So my dream that I'm going to keep working towards, and each day it's a different thing, especially these past 2 years, but the dream that I have and we have is for people to work because they want to versus have to. That is a dream I literally put into my meditations every day, and there's something so exciting when I see other people kind of get that spark in their eye. They found the thing that makes them the most passionate. They found the thing, the mission for them. It doesn't have to be my mission, organizational mission, but they found something that's so inspiring to them. It's like their highest expression of themselves. I remember it very vividly when I was operating a lot on negative reinforcement, and the negative reinforcement was to avoid my supervisor that gave me disingenuous feedback. I mean, this is 2004, I'm really old, and I walked into my supervisor's office. I did feel like I was going up these long stairs, and I just remember he said there's something wrong, he has to talk to me. What happened was, it wasn't even my supervisor, it was my supervisor's supervisor. I'm like, he never meets with me. He doesn't even know what I do. Why does he want to meet? I go up the stairs, sweating, just like anxious, and I sit down, and he delivers like 9 or 10 things that were a year later. They never told me about these things, and I almost wanted to leave the field. It was so dark for me in that moment, because I'm like, is this how this industry works, that I'll find out at the end in a year? And why is it this guy who hasn't supervised me ever or seen my work? I realized that in that situation there was an ulterior motive, because I did a lot of digging afterwards. You know how you have something stuck in your head, you're like, I gotta understand this. Sweet tea, thanks for everything.
Yeah.
All right.
Thank you.
All right. It was really because they wanted to cut their budget, because they already hired someone to replace me as I was looking into it. So they had an ulterior motive. And can you raise your hand if you've ever felt like, either from someone who could be a spouse, a friend, or at work, someone gave you undesirable feedback and you felt that they had an ulterior motive? Raise your hand. Yeah, there's nothing worse. I mean, just keep it real. Like, keep it real with people. Nod your head if you would so much rather hear something undesirable right off the bat, and it's true, and you feel like you got it out of the way, and they're not sandwich techniquing you. Nod your head if you know. The next time you go to say something positive to the individual, they're like, okay, when's the other shoe gonna drop? That's exactly right. The next 2 times you see that person, you're like, I don't want them to say anything good about me, because I know it's gonna get ugly. Now that I explained my bad experience, it helped me understand why I wanted to start an organization 18 years ago. I know Pat and I have talked before, and he's been in those situations too. I think it was you giving me, he was my supervisor, it was you giving me bad feedback. Son of a bitch. It's on now. Nah, I actually learned.
He was part of an experiment, so I felt it was okay.
I actually learned most of my clinical training and experimental analyses and stuff was from Dr. Progress. So I'm so grateful he came back to my life. And you know what I mean about the disingenuous feedback. It's done for the wrong reason. And we also have a history of people getting mad or irritated, and then they tell you something that you don't want to hear because it makes them feel better. It's an impulsive email, it's an impulsive thing. They're in a discussion, you see their face getting red, you can see all the physiological changes, and then they lash out. The thing I've learned to do is sleep on it. So, you know, I'll take notes when something occurs and someone says something I may not agree with, or I observe behavior that's not desirable for an organization. I sleep on it, I research it a little further, and then I deliver it in a face-to-face conversation.